All right, everybody, good afternoon. Hopefully, it's starting to become some kind of a good something for you guys anyway. We're moving further and further away from that disaster yesterday, so we're healing, we're getting back into the swing of things, and by the end of the week, hopefully, we'll at least be open to seeing something better come next Sunday. But we got snap count Monday to go through. I already made my video last week talking about how this works, but it's pretty self explanatory. We just look at the players on this team that have some degree of rotation in and out of the lineup throughout a game, and we see how much they're playing. And we also get an idea of how many snaps are being played overall by the offense and the defense. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So we're starting with the offense. And yeah, right off the bat, we have a big problem here 51 snaps on offense. 51 snaps. And keep that number in mind when we switch over to the defense, and you'll see where the big problem is. And this is a problem that's been going on for years now with this team. We always play way more snaps on defense than we do on offense. And when you only play 51 on offense, you can bet there was an imbalance. But let's go ahead and break it down. Let's start with the running backs here. We got Ken Walker getting 32 snaps, Charbonnet getting 12, and DJ Dallas getting 11. So obviously, I know that a lot of people are hoping that we have a lot of balance with our running back rotation this year, but I do think this is kind of indicative of what we can expect to see this season. You've got Walker getting 60 to almost 63% of the snaps, and then Charbonnet and Dallas getting less than a quarter each. So obviously, there are a couple plays where multiple running backs are in the game, which explains why there's a little bit of an overlap there. But I do think that this team believes that Walker is the best running back on this team, and the results from that game do paint a pretty clear picture as to why they think that, and they probably should think that right now. So I do think that you're going to see a situation like this where Walker gets the lion's share of the action, and Charbonnet and Dallas and eventually McIntosh are just kind of distant seconds, thirds, and fourths. But that's your running backs. Wide receivers, pretty much what you would expect. DK Metcalf, 48 snaps, so about 95%. Tyler Lockett, 45 snaps, and that I think the snaps he missed were mostly because of the head injury, so 88%. And then JSN got 30 snaps, which is just under 60%, which is definitely more than what we would have seen from a slot receiver most games last year. So we are moving that way. It's not necessarily where I think we need to end up, but it is headed in the right direction. If we have JSN on the field for 60 to 65% of the snaps, I think that we're at least trending in the right direction. And I think that's something that makes sense, especially when you consider he wasn't 100%. So this kind of stuff, okay, I can get behind that. And also, Jake Bobo played a good amount, 12 snaps. And Cody Thompson also threw in two as a receiver. So you add it all up, and it's a pretty decent chunk of wide receiver heavy sets here. I don't know if this is where we're going to eventually end up, but it works. It works pretty well here. I think this is a pretty good spread. I mean, we do have good tight ends on this team. We do have good backs on this team, so we do have to mix it up a little bit, but this seems pretty reasonable to me. Tight ends, Noah Fant was on the field for less than half of the snaps, barely, so 25. Disley, 16 snaps, 31%. Colby Parkinson, 43% with 22 snaps. So basically, you add it all up, and we had slightly more than one tight end out there on every snap, I guess is the right way to put it, right? Because you add them all together, and it's more than 51. Nobody going over 50%, which is definitely interesting with the money that Noah Fant is making this year, plus the fact that he's playing for a new contract next year. And you think about the money Will Disley's making. I don't know if we're getting good return on investment if this is how much these guys are going to be playing per game, but we do, I think, need to prioritize using receivers over tight ends, so I do think it's probably the right thing to do. So, okay, sure. Makes sense to me, lines up to me. And then we got the offensive line down here, and unfortunately, we did have to tap into the reserves a little bit, which is not ideal, but people got hurt. So Lewis, Brown, and Haynes played 51 snaps, so they played the whole game, so that's good. Charles Cross, 38 snaps. Abe Lucas, 35 snaps. Stone Forsythe played 13 to replace Cross. Curhan played 16 snaps to replace Lucas. And all we can do is hope that Cross and Lucas are better very quickly. But we're not getting off to the best of starts here, are we? We're not getting off to a good start here at all. So Forsythe and Curhan are, I mean Curhan, I guess I should say more than anything. I understand that as far as backups go, they're probably passable, but I think we can see that in this game, you put them out there for an extended period of time, they're going to get roasted. Curhan's a guard. Curhan should be playing guard in the NFL. You can see why he can't play tackle. And Forsythe, I don't know. Forsythe might just be worthless as any kind of a meaningful player in the NFL. Okay, defense. Let's switch on over to the defense. 81 snaps. Not okay. Unacceptable. We had multiple defensive linemen and multiple linebackers in this game play more snaps than our whole offense. Not okay. So, Pete said yesterday, we've got a lot of work to do. It starts here. We've got to keep the offense on the field and keep the defense off the field. Bottom line, everything stems from that. So, whatever you did to make the run defense good, if it was at the expense of the pass defense, you switched that back yesterday. You switch that back right now. I would rather give up 200 yards rushing than give up all those third downs throwing the ball on defense, period. But anyway, I digress. You guys know how bad it was. So snap counts, Draymond Jones, 55 snaps, and didn't really notice him out there. Jaron Reed, 59 snaps, a little bit better, but overall, honestly, I wasn't crazy impressed with it. I will say, though, that you got to give this defensive line some credit for the way we did improve against the run, I guess, but I hope you guys are understanding that that game was evidence that it's not worth it. It's not worth it to sacrifice your pass defense to stop the run in the NFL anymore. That's not how this works. You get the kind of results that you got yesterday when you do that. Mario Edwards, 24 snaps. Mike Morris, 26 snaps. Cam Young and Miles Adams get 2 snaps each, and Monet's not healthy. So, on top of giving Jones and Reed way too much of a workload, you can also see that we did not really have a lot of defensive linemen in this game. You do the math. Did we even have an average of 2 of these guys out there per snap? Think about that. Draymond Jones played 55, Reed played 59, and then you have Mario Edwards and Mike Morris playing 50 combined. These guys played 54 combined if you throw in Young and Adams. So we're going to these 2 lineman sets a lot. And I think that if you do the math here, you can see there are some plays where we don't even have that. And I understand that we stopped the run, but what that's telling me is that the 2 lineman sets, where you have 2 down linemen on your defensive line, that's a disaster all the way around because there was no meaningful pass rush coming from the defensive line, or maybe because of this, the edge room. So it's not working either way. All right, linebacker Bobby Wagner played every snap, which, I mean, I don't know. Bobby Wagner put up good stats, but I don't think he played that well. I really don't know what to say about players anymore, honestly, when it comes to, they didn't play well. They didn't play well. I'm starting to think no player can play well in this system, in this scheme. Like, people are talking about, we're going to get Adams back. We're going to get Witherspoon back. Or, we should have drafted Jalen Carter. We should have signed Zach Allen. We should have gotten this guy. We should have gotten that guy. Guys, I don't know. Draymond Jones looked great in Denver, and for whatever it's worth, yesterday he looked like a toddler out there. He looked worthless. Trey Brown looked. There's a very long list of players that have looked good on other teams and looked good for this team in other games that just looked useless yesterday. So I have to look at that and I have to wonder, okay, why did every player just forget how to play football at the same time? I think there's something bigger and deeper going on here than just the individual players. But Bobby didn't play that well. I know he put up numbers. Devin Bush, 21 snaps, and Jordan Brooks, 52 snaps. Just to recap, Jordan Brooks played more snaps than the entire offense, coming off an ACL tear 8.5 months ago. So that's pretty cool. And by cool, I mean an absolute disaster. But I do want to say this. Jordan Brooks was probably our best player on defense yesterday. Jordan Brooks played great. So if you're looking for some kind of silver lining here, defensively, Jordan Brooks looked good. He looked good against the run. He honestly looked pretty good against the pass, too. So good for him. I thought I was going to be annoyed that Devin Bush didn't play that much, but the way Brooks played, I think that Brooks needed to be out there most of the time. So good for him. And Drake Thomas played a little bit on special teams. I think he had like one special teams tackle. That's it. Edge rusher. So Nwosu gets 62 snaps, so he gets 76% of the snaps, which, okay, that's a reasonable rate, I guess, but 62 snaps is not reasonable. So you're going to have to start getting off the field on third down. And while Nwosu didn't play a bad game at all, Nwosu did make some plays in the backfield, I didn't see a lot from him rushing the passer. Maybe a little bit more than these other players, but not enough. Not enough to justify what he's making, not enough to justify his role on this defense. Boye Mafe, 43 snaps, so just over half. I thought Mafe played decently again, but again, you got to deliver some pass rush too. It's not good enough to just be good against the run, which he was. Got to get after the quarterback. Darrell Taylor, 37 snaps, and we got Derek Hall getting 20 snaps. So decent share for these guys. I kind of like the idea here. We got Nwosu getting 76%, Mafe getting 53%, Darrell Taylor getting 46%, and then Derek Hall getting about 25%. That's reasonable. I kind of like the structure here. I do think we got this rotation down fairly well. The problem is they're taking this percentage of 81 snaps. That cannot hold. That is not going to work long term. That needs to stop now. So I think we got the right idea here. It's just the execution needs to improve so that these guys aren't playing this much. Cornerback, pretty simple here. We got Tariq Woolen playing all the snaps. Woolen played okay, I guess. So he's probably one of the few guys that you can't really go after that hard after that game, although I'm not convinced he played a good game either. You got Trey Brown playing 61 snaps, and he played so bad, I think he's already kind of lost his starting job. I don't know how you can continue to trot him out there, although, again, it's possible that it's not even really a player issue, but once Witherspoon gets back, we need to just give him some space to figure stuff out over there and try to be better than Brown or Jackson, who played 21 snaps, or anybody else could be. Kobe Bryant, 64 snaps, so he played a lot, did not play well. Artie Burns, 18 snaps. Basically, we had a lot of defensive backs out there throughout this game, and I can understand why. We stopped the run well with what we had. But bottom line is that it wasn't useful. It wasn't productive. We still couldn't stop the pass at all. We were in dime constantly in that game. So many dime packages, and we still couldn't stop the pass. We still couldn't cover. So what good is it? Finally, we got safety here. This one's very simple. Quandre Diggs, 81. Julian Love, 81. So both those guys played every snap. Love did not play well at all, I don't think. I don't think Diggs played well either. Both those guys, garbage, which is really disappointing. Julian Love did make one or two good plays, I guess, so it wasn't all bad, but Diggs did nothing that stood out to me. Like, Diggs did nothing. And granted, Diggs' job is often to not stand out, but the problem was when he did stand out, it was because he was giving up a big play. So, garbage. And yeah, that's it for Snap Count Monday. It's a little bit of a disaster. I don't mind some of the fundamentals here, but the execution needs to be better so we don't have this problem where Jaron Reed's playing 60 snaps, where Jordan Brooks is playing 52 snaps. Can't happen. So That's what I got. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos later on, probably.